There are several questions concerning the life of Valentine Hatfield. Some of the more curious of the questions would be why Hatfield was accused of ignoring the laws of the state of Kentucky. When would these cases have happened? Who was involved? And what warrants and indictments were in question? We have put together some of our thoughts on plausible answers, and perhaps other questions. Come along with us as we examine the duties of Valentine Hatfield as the Justice of the Peace. All aboard the Kentucky-Tennessee Living Time Machine. Please fasten your seatbelts and keep your arms and legs inside of the vehicle at all times. But to get going, we need your help. We still need to fire up that time machine to transport us. Please help us by clicking on the like, subscribe, and bell notification buttons down below. Not only does this fire up the time machine for our flight back in time, but it convinces the YouTube algorithm that we need a bigger vehicle to reach more people who love history as much as you do. Now, back to our story. The duties of a Justice of the Peace. One of the questions concerning Valentine Hatfield is, did he overstep his duties of his office? I have always thought of Hatfield as a local politician only. He had just enough power to warrant respect of his small community. It is unclear if Hatfield had bigger aspirations for his career. However, we did find what his duties were for the office that he held. According to the West Virginia Encyclopedia, the following is a list of duties for the office of Justice of the Peace. Quote, from the founding of the state until January 1st, 1977, Justices of the Peace functioned as the lowest rung of the West Virginia judiciary. The office had its origins in England and was transplanted to colonial Virginia in the 17th century. In West Virginia, JPs were given jurisdiction over misdemeanor offenses and small civil claims. The Justices of the Peace would also set initial bail in felony cases and conduct preliminary hearings. Justices of the Peace received no salaries, but were compensated by the cost assessed against the losing party in the civil cases and against criminal defendants who were convicted. Thus, it was long part of the legal folklore of West Virginia that JP stood for judgment for the plaintiff, that is, the person who brought the suit. If a defendant was acquitted in the criminal case, the justice was not compensated, unquote. Abuse of power is nothing new. Even to this day, there are many complicated cases like this. But one has to wonder how corrupt Hatfield really was. Was he a boss hog from the Dukes of Hazzard kind of character? Or was Hatfield more of a man trying to protect his family kind of character? We tend to lean that he is more like the latter. Our reasoning being that Hatfield had left the major decisions concerning the Klan to his brother Ants. The decisions about bootlegging. One of the accusations leveled against Valentine Hatfield is that of ignoring warrants, extraditions, and indictments made in Kentucky against the Hatfields. What warrants and indictments? And exactly who were they against? And why would these and other legal decisions feed the feud between the two families? We might have found the answer to this. Simply put, moonshine. There is a wonderful quote in the movie Coal Miner's Daughter given by Lee Dollahide. Quote, if you're born in Kentucky, you've got three choices, coal mine, moonshine, or move it on down the line, unquote. This quote can also be given to just about anywhere in the Appalachian Mountains. But in the case of the Hatfields in 1880, there were no major coal mines in the area yet. So the choices here would have been timber, moonshine, or down the line. Let's talk about moonshine for a moment. Almost everyone knows that it is illegal whiskey that is made in the mountains and goes by several different names. Usually it is distributed at night and sometimes taken across state lines. The charge for this is called bootlegging. As such was the case with Johnson Hatfield, who would transport the moonshine from West Virginia into Kentucky. Now, other than this being illegal, why would this cause trouble between the two families? Simply put, both families were competing for the same market. This would involve the manufacturing, distribution, and sale of the moonshine. It is thought that since they were competitors, that this also contributed to the anger in both families against the other. We see this go on today with gangs or mob families. When Johnson was 18 years old, he stayed into trouble, with a newspaper report saying that he had been indicted 27 times for transporting moonshine whiskey for sale. Pike County, Kentucky Sheriff Joe Radcliffe deputized Talbot McCoy to help bring Johnson Hatfield in. The McCoy family had Johnson arrested or kidnapped on an outstanding Kentucky bootlegging charge against him. This was thwarted by Rosanna McCoy. But it goes to show that Johnson Hatfield never faced trial or jail time for his illegal actions. So why wouldn't he face these charges? Simply put, when the charges came across the desk of Valentine Hatfield, he would either simply ignore them or make the decision that there was either not enough evidence for the charge or some other legal decision to keep Johnson from being extradited across the state line into the state of Kentucky. These decisions would make the McCoy family mad, as they would see this as no justice for their family, as Johnson was taking their business away from them. While we have no conclusive direct evidence for this, we have simply put together the clues for this conclusion. It would explain why Valentine was accused of not doing his duties when it came to the warrants, extraditions, and indictments, as well as it would explain why Johnson Hatfield was able to break the law 27 times for bootlegging and never spend a day in jail for the crimes. What do you think? Do you think, like we do, that Valentine Hatfield could have helped his nephew Johnson in this manner? Do you think that this could have been the reason why Valentine Hatfield has the charge of ignoring Kentucky state law brought against his reputation? Let us know what you think in the comment section below. In next week's video, we will begin with the romance of Rosanna McCoy and Johnson Hatfield, and how this romance would lead to the charge of murder against Valentine Hatfield. Thank you. We at Kentucky Tennessee Living would like to thank you for watching our video series on the myths and truths of the Hatfield and McCoy feud. Don't forget to hit that like button, as the more likes we receive, the more likely YouTube is to suggest our videos to other viewers. Also, to receive notice when we upload a new video, be sure to subscribe and click the bell notification button. Be sure to double check that you are subscribed, as some of our viewers are finding that they are no longer subscribed to our channel. We thank you for continuing to support Kentucky Tennessee Living as we are discovering the mysteries in Appalachian history.